What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the show. So what is the government not telling us about this East Palestine situation? And if you guys aren't familiar, there was a train derailment. This was last week. And you have residents now that they're complaining of nausea. They're complaining of their eyes burning, their throats burning. People have said that they've been throwing up and a variety of different things. So this train that derailed had some toxic material on board. And so what they did is, since the plane was on fire, after they got the fire under control, then they did a controlled burn. And when they did that controlled burn, now you have people who are complaining of having issues. But the government in Ohio is saying you guys can go back to your home, but just don't drink the water, which I think is really strange. If they can't drink the water, then obviously it's not safe for them to be there. They're telling them to drink bottled water. And so the residents they're in an uproar right now. They're like, what is going on? The government's not protecting us when it comes to this situation. So I want to show you guys a clip here, and we're going to talk a little bit about this because this is a story that's not going to go away. So that's what we're going to talk about in this video. But first off, if you guys can do me a favor, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit that little bell notification, and then click all. By clicking all, you'll get notified anytime we post a video. We do daily videos here, so by clicking the bell notification and clicking all, you should be getting updated every day. Okay, so I'm going to show you this clip. This is the first clip. This is the lever. They did a really good job. They investigative reporters, they're out there talking to the residents and finding out exactly what's going on and how this got to the point where it is now, because when it comes to the train derailment, this could have been mitigated. Now, it couldn't have been avoided, but it could have been mitigated to an extent where we wouldn't have seen the damage that this train derailment actually caused. So let me play this video. Make sure you pay attention to what they're talking about here. First, they're going to start talking about a 2012 incident, and then they're going to get into what actually happened in East Palestine. Okay, here we go.
Saw in the middle of the country a giant chemical fireball, 100-foot flames, and very few people asking questions about what led up to this. So there was a derailment in 2012 in New Jersey,
releasing 20,000 gallons of dangerous chemicals and noxious gas into the air.
There's children in the town that are being affected by this.
And there was pressure on regulators to do something about those kinds of trains. And so the Obama administration had a rule proposed to better regulate these trains. The National Transportation Safety Board told the regulatory agency, said, listen, these regulations should broadly cover not just oil, they should cover what's known as Class 2 chemicals. And the chemical industry lobbyists went to work pressuring the regulatory agency to limit the definition of what a high hazard flammable train is. Limit it in a way that the train in Ohio, that kind of train ended up not being classified as a high hazard flammable train.
The NTSB closely monitoring 4 cars that are filled with vinyl chloride. It has been found to be linked to cancer.
Trains that were subject to this rule were going to be required to use a special kind of new braking system to try to deter or at least reduce the damage from derailments.
ECP delivers the unmatched performance of air brakes with the precision of electronic communications.
Most trains in the country are still using technology from the Civil War era, but the moment the government was considering making it a mandate, the railroad industry's changed its tune. It cited cost concerns to pressure against that rule.
We want to see federal regulations when they're necessary, not just in reaction to a headline in the Washington Post.
Obama's rule included that measure to expand the larger use of those brakes on the nation's rail system. But in that 2016 election year, the Republican Party got about $6 million from the rail industry. And Senate Republicans started beating the drum for Trump to repeal the rule. Donald Trump repealed the brake rule so that the industry does not have to even start to use these kinds of brakes. One former Federal Railroad Administration regulator told us that these brakes, which are known as ECP brakes, would have mitigated a disaster like this. And we just learned today, after the publication of our story, federal officials told us that this train did not have those brakes on the train.
Okay, so like I said, that was thelever.com. So you want to go over to their website, they have a YouTube channel as well. And they did a good report when it comes to this. So it was the braking system. They could have had an advanced braking system that would have mitigated the situation. Now, like I said, this wouldn't have, I mean, the train still would have derailed, but it could have stopped much quicker and it wouldn't have caused as much damage as it's caused now. And so you see, they start following the money. You have money going to the Republican Party. And this is probably why you had some politicians stand up and say, look, we need to not allow this regulation to happen. And it's all about money for the train companies, right? The rail companies, because they're looking at a situation where they don't want to have to pay to have these new ECP brakes put in. And so they want to use the old antiquated system for pretty much all of their transportation and not use these new trains that they would have to purchase. And that's the reason why they didn't have it on this train. And this train was transporting hazardous material. And so the classification of this hazardous material, I guess, wasn't serious enough for them to have the new braking system. But nonetheless, just think of it this way. You have politicians making these decisions. Now, if you were asking the average person that lives, let's say, 2 miles from a railway, asking them, do you want to have these advanced brakes on the trains that come through your neighborhood? These people are going to say yes. And the problem is, these politicians are representing the people. They're supposed to represent the people, but who are they representing? They're representing the corporate interests. That's who they're representing. They get $6 million and they think, okay, yes, we're gonna take care of this for you. We're not gonna have you guys are not gonna have to upgrade your system. And now we're looking at this situation because as a result of that. And so now you have people who are scared to go home or they're actually leaving their house because they're complaining of nausea and things like that. And I'm going to show you guys another clip that's going to show you some of the people actually talking, people who live in the city talking. And then they're going to talk to the governor, who is he's downplaying the whole thing in the sense that they did the controlled burn. They think that people can go back to their homes. And you have people that are saying, no, we don't feel that it's safe. And I'll tell you, like I was talking about when it comes to the water, if you can't drink the water, it's not safe. If you have fish dying in the area, it's not safe. There's something still toxic in the air. So let me show you this clip.
And 2 weeks after that massive train derailment and the controlled burn of hazardous chemicals sent up a toxic plume of black smoke in East Palestine, Ohio.
It doesn't smell safe. I'm taking my things and I'm out of here.
Residents demanding answers, complaining of burning eyes, nausea, headaches, and a pungent odor, and reporting dead animals. Officials confirming 3,500 fish killed by the chemicals.
Don't tell me it's safe. Something's going on if the fish are floating in the creek.
State officials now suggest drinking bottled water after telling evacuated residents it was safe to return home. The governor, who approved that controlled burn of toxic chemicals to prevent an explosion, was asked if he'd return home if he lived near the crash site, where crews now work to remove soil and wreckage possibly contaminated by chemicals like vinyl chloride, suspected of causing cancer.
I think that I would be drinking the bottled water, and I would be continuing to find out what the tests were showing as far as the air. I would be alert and concerned, but I think I would probably be back in my house.
Again today, officials saying constant tests and monitoring of the air and water show the environment is safe.
We understand some of the anxiety of the community. We're going to be here until this problem is cleaned up.
I'm not believing those reassurances yet.
Why not?
I need proof.
Janet Hill, a breast cancer survivor, says she has a constant cough and sore throat and worries about her firefighter son, who spent days working the crash site.
I worry what's going to happen 5, 10, 15 years down the road.
Ron Allen joining me here in the studio. The train operator, Norfolk Southern, is facing some lawsuits.
Yes, multiple class action complaints demanding compensation and health monitoring for residents. The company says it has no comment on pending litigation and that it already has provided more than $1 million and other support for the community, and they say they're not going anywhere.
All right, Ron Allen, thank you.
Okay, so that was another report. And it was interesting. They were talking about the air and the water being safe, the government saying that the air and the water is safe. If the water is safe, why are fish dying in the water? I mean, it's obvious that the water is not safe. If they're telling you not to drink the water and drink bottled water, the water is probably not safe. So there's a cover-up going on here. Obviously, this is not something that, I mean, these politicians are not telling us the truth when it comes to this whole situation. And the scary part of this, and I've been doing some research, they're anticipating derailments in the future. And so this is not going to stop. And if they don't do anything, this is a time for Congress to actually step up. Hopefully the House can step up with the bill, or the Senate can step up with the bill that will regulate these train companies, so they'll have to upgrade these trains to have these ECP brakes for hazardous material. So we'll have to see if that happens. We have politicians right now who are blaming each other. You have some Republicans in the House blaming the White House, saying they're not doing enough, which could be true. They might not be doing enough, but what are you going to do to mitigate this in the future? Are you going to vote for a bill that will regulate these train companies so they'll have to upgrade these brakes? So if the situation happens again, at least it won't be as large as the situation that we saw in Ohio and in East Palestine. So I want to know what you guys think about this. I think right now you have a lot of politicians really trying to downplay this in Ohio. They're trying to say, yes, you can go back to your homes and the air is safe and all this. But I mean, you have fish dying, you have wildlife dying. So there's obviously an issue here. So let me know what you guys think down below. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe for more, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye.